Hello and welcome to the United Voice. Well, it's the day after the loss, the day before, and I'm not over that defeat, and I bet you're not too. I mean, how can you be a Man United fan and accept that performance yesterday? So today's video, I'm going to go over some key points and thoughts about the game, and look at some game stats and what Ten Hag had to say after the match. And we've also got some fan reaction. So I've been receiving messages from fans, both in short audio clips and on Twitter. So we're gonna listen to some a couple of audio clips, what people had to say about the game, and I'll read out some some Twitter messages, and we'll talk about them as well. So let's get started. Yesterday, it was clear to me that from minute one that Ten Hag had got it wrong, and basically almost every department against Newcastle yesterday. Although I do tell a bit of a small lie there, because if you look at the two goalkeepers, Nick Pope literally didn't have a shot to save all game. Okay, Anthony had a shot, but it was weak, and really, it struggled to even really reach Nick Pope. Never mind put him under any pressure. So, I mean, I don't really even class that truly as a shot on goal. It was half-hearted. He was probably just a little bit impatient. Well, you saw it. It was disgraceful. So some fans are saying that we were lucky. So lucky, in fact, just not to get a similar result against us as we had against Liverpool. I mean, at times, the number of chances that Newcastle were having, I was thinking, wow, they can't score. I mean, are we going to go back up the other end and going to, put one or two in and win this game, like other games? But no, didn't happen. And looking at the stats of the game, we were so lucky not to come away with more than a 2-0 hiding, because we got hided. We got slapped backside slapped. It's disgraceful. So Ten Hag was schooled by Eddie Howe. Really is schooled by Eddie Howe. Newcastle dominated tactics, formation. Their players who absolutely knew the jobs. They were up for that game, really pumped up for it. They knew how important it was to Newcastle United that they won that game. But it was equally as important to Manchester United and Manchester United fans. And in the end, we were just dominated. They absolutely dominated us. I mean, we were at 6s and 7s. Players running around like headless chickens. Players couldn't be arsed to track back, couldn't be arsed to get ahead of the ball and provide outlets for, say, Anthony, who, probably in the first half and part of the second half, until he went off, looked like probably the player that was affecting the game the most. I mean, I don't know why, again, he started with McTominay playing in what Bruno's, kind of like Bruno's role, typical role, and he pushed Bruno Fernandes deeper. Ridiculous. I mean, yeah, Ten Hag got a lot wrong yesterday, and we're still fuming about it. Fans are still messaging me. I'm still getting messages about that game. In tonight, Tottenham play Everton, and we could drop to 5th if they beat Everton. So, yeah, Ten Hag's got a lot. Ten Hag and the players, they know it. They must have gone in training today, or if they're not got whatever they're doing, thinking to ourselves, picking up big money from Manchester United. We need more. For me, that was as close as an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer team performance like last season. You go back to the darkest times last season, and you'd have seen performances like that yesterday. I'm surprised Newcastle fans weren't singing Ollie at the wheel. It really pissed me off. Every player was at fault for something during the game. I mean, that's typical. It's human nature. We all make mistakes. But you expect, if you've been playing football since you were 4 years old, or as soon as you could walk, you were kicking a ball, and that led to you as a teenager getting signed up at United or another big club, and you play football day in, day out for a job, that you have the ability to just, your quality is that much above than what the standard, like, kind of layman guy, So like me and you, if you're not a pro player, I don't know if you're not, but imagine if you played football every day and practiced and trained regularly for the next year, 2 years, how much of a better player you'd be. So why are we seeing stupid mistakes? Why do players even have, like, no football intelligence? We see it. I mean, it might be easy for us sitting watching it on TV or up high in the stands, looking down over, so we can see more of the pitch and more or possibilities. I think that possibly is an answer for it. And when you're actually, in the moment on the pitch with the ball at your feet, it's a little bit different. But that's what training accounts for. Training prevents those kind of mistakes, or gives you the ability to have decisions that are kind of almost like pre-programmed in your head. So anyway, what did Ten Hag say after the game? Because there was a video like Sky Sports released. I saw it on Twitter, and it was like Eddie Howe talking to the Newcastle team in the dressing room after the game. Now, I played a clip of it yesterday on the reaction video, and I was thinking, where's Ten Hag's? Where's United's? We want to see it. I don't know if I missed it or not. Did I? Did you see one? Please let me know in the comments below. But anyway, what did Ten Hag say after the game? This is what he said. I said in the dressing room after the game, it can't be that the opponent is angrier than we are. The race for the top 4 is going to be a fight, and you can only win that when you match the desire and passion of the opponent. Well, we saw that just didn't happen. There didn't seem to be any passion or desire from the United side. Ten Hag goes on to say, I was surprised we couldn't match that determination, passion and desire of the opponent. When you travel to St James Park, you know what will be going on. Especially after we won the Carabao Cup final. Yeah, Newcastle were always going to go for revenge for that, but they're pros. It's just another game to them. They're up for it, but their target is a top 4 finish. That's the most important thing. I guarantee you that was more important to them than the Carabao Cup final win. Yeah, it had been their first cup in, I think it's like something stupid, like 90 years or something ridiculous. Anyway, Ten Hag went on to say, if you want to win big games, you have to be mature. I didn't see that on the pitch today. Well, they're all adults. I mean, you'd expect them to be mature. I don't think we underestimated Newcastle, Ten Hag went on to say. They played above their levels because they are so eager, but you could expect that. Yeah, okay, he's going on about the emotive side of it and how they know what they're playing for. They were determined to win this game, but you have to match that. Be aware of the situation from the start. We didn't enter the final third, the box, too many times of the opponent. Oh yeah, so we didn't get forward a lot. I mean, first half was better than the second, which is unusual. I mean, we were getting hammered in the we're lucky not to be 3-0 down at the end of the first half. And Ten Hag's there saying that we didn't enter the final third, the box, too many times of the opponent. Well, yeah, in the first half we did a few. We had like half chances, but that kind of led to not even having a shot on goal in the first half. And arguably, I think, we conceded 2 goals in the second half, so for me, the second half was even worse. He says, but they could easily enter our box. Well, yeah, we experienced that all game. We have to do much better, he said. I think our attacking game was not good enough. I don't want to be focused on one person. It was about the team performance. We didn't break them down. In the first half, we had We had a trap on the right side with Anthony and Diego Dallo, but on the left we had almost nothing. Yeah, it was very dominant on the right in the first half. That is the conclusion of the game. Today we didn't create many chances, and when we were there, we weren't determined enough to score a goal. I just think it's not about... Well, it was about determination, but it was also about quality. It was just down to no quality and determination, you know. It's like, pick up the pace, come on, knock the ball about quicker. Stop McTominay from passing it left to right and backwards. That's the truth, he says. We were not happy as we played too high in the midfield, and it was easy for Newcastle. It was easy for the two Newcastle centre-halves to defend our midfield players, to defend against our midfield players. So they had to play a bit deeper. Then why didn't you make the changes earlier? We were all saying, weren't we? You need to make changes at half-time. Or, you know, maybe like 5-10 minutes in, you could see what he'd set up on the pitch wasn't working. Why didn't he make any changes sooner? So he played too high in the midfield. Therefore, we made the subs, too late. He put Marcel Sabitzer as number 10 and Scott McTominay in a deeper role. Then you risk everything when you're taking off both central defenders, he did. So he's saying we brought Anthony Martial and Jadon Sancho on to get more control in possession, to keep the ball moving forward. I don't think we kept possession. I just don't think that worked at all. Martial looked a bit classy. He come on for Weghorst, and ultimately, he looked like world class compared to Weghorst. You know, some of the touches he was making. As for Jadon Sancho, there's calls for him to be dropped completely. That he's had it at the club, he's washed up. He's only a young lad. One of my upcoming videos is going to be about Jadon Sancho and how possibly Ten Hag can get more out of him. That was supposed to have been published today, but I just felt like doing this another reaction video. So Sancho and Martial were brought on to control possession, basically, and keep the ball and try and get forward. But it was too late. Everything was too late. All these changes. By that time, the Newcastle side were in a headspace where they'd won the game. They had the momentum. Their adrenaline was pumping. They knew they had us, against the wall, and there was nothing United could do. Ten Hag's game management was piss poor during that game. So we're nearly done with Ten Hag's statement now. So after we are losing the game, you try to save the game. Too late, Ten Hag. Too late. To bring a goal and go 1-against-1 at the back. Bring a centre-back on who can defend with space behind him. So he brought Victor Lindelof on, but he thinks, okay, if a ball gets put over, he can defend that. Harry Maguire can't, so Victor Lindelof was probably the only other chance. But we don't understand, why take Varane, why take Martinez off? Keep one of them on. You start them every week for a reason. You sure you can't be telling me during that game you suddenly decided you didn't trust them? That made no sense. And he also brought on an extra player in attack. So Pellistri, which again, like Sancho, too late. Couldn't affect the game. And he goes on to say, it's normal in a season. You have setbacks. You have to deal with that. We did that so many times recently after Liverpool we came back, so I don't have that concern, he says. I believe in my team and I believe we will bounce back. Yeah, okay, we've got to believe they'll bounce back. Hand on heart, it's one game. But, as I keep saying, we could be in 5th tonight. 5th. Yeah, and I know Tottenham will have, it'll be their 29th game tonight. We played 27. So, okay, we've got kind of a chance to get up there. But it was all in our own hands. Now we're back in that top 4 battle. It looked like if we could have beat Newcastle or took a point, say, that would have give us a bit of breathing room. But no, we're blowing it again, just like we do every season. In kind of important games, we blow it. We're always blowing it. So, we're going to get onto the comments soon. So, I'm just going to read out some stats, basically, from yesterday. So, overall possession during the game, Man United, that is, had 54%. Overall, first half we had 48. Now, shots, obviously, United only had 6 with 1 on target. Corners, we had 4. And the attendance of the game was 52,268. United took 3,000 fans. 3,000 fans. Imagine 3,000 fans watching that in the ground. I mean, how disgusted do you think they were? I mean, it was just a terrible... Anyhow, and here's some random stats for you as well. There's another, just one random stat, and then we'll get onto the audio and reading out the fan reactions. So, only 9 teams in the Prem still have the managers they started with in the season. So that's obviously United, Man City, Liverpool, Newcastle, Arsenal, Fulham and Brentford. Every other team, the last one was Graham Potter. He was yesterday, was it? From Chelsea. We knew after that 2-0 loss to Aston Villa, we knew his days were numbered. I was surprised how they got rid of him so quickly. And that might be why, forgot his name, but the Leicester manager left Leicester as well yesterday. Maybe he's going to become either the Tottenham manager or go on and manage Chelsea. He'll be out of his depth though at those clubs. So let's move on to the fan reaction. So let's start off with an audio clip. This was sent in to me this morning from Callum.
Yeah, watching that game, probably one of the worst performances we've had all season, or probably just one of the best performances we've had against us this season. I think Ten Hag got it wrong with the changes. Probably opens us up a bit too much. So really, I think without that, we probably would have just lost 1-0, but it's not really much of a difference. But I think, given how much they were pressing, it just opens us up to being sort of conceding that second goal. Obviously, what?
Callum's just telling us what we all think there. And I've got to agree with him so far. Yeah, let's see what else he has to say.
A few players sort of stand out. Didn't really see Rashford do anything. Anthony had moments, but he just does what he normally does. Like, in my opinion, he's sort of falls over a lot, loses the ball a lot, struggles with his balance. Delo looks like he's not really up to speed after his injury. Bruno looks like he's sort of just lost in midfield. Yeah. And just Newcastle sort of had more of the will and the fight to win the match, and it just seemed to be, I don't know what it is, but it seems like our form's gone down ever since. I don't know, it just feels like, since the cup final we haven't looked the same. Like, the bite's gone, and that game was probably, I don't know, close to the Liverpool game in my opinion.
Yeah, thanks Callum, thanks for sending that in. I've got to say, I agree with everything. It looks like, we've, after the Carabao Cup final, our form's just disappeared. And I agree with you about Anthony as well. He was bright, and I've mentioned that already in this video. He did look bright early in that half, the first half that is. But ultimately, there's not a lot of end product ever from Anthony. So thanks Callum. Thanks for sending that in. Please continue to support the channel and send in your audio bites. In fact, if you ever want it, because the channel's called The United Voice, and that's what we're all about. So if you've got an opinion, please share it. You can do that via commenting below, and I'll read your comments out. Or if you want to send in your thoughts on an audio clip, you can do that. I'll provide the information on how you can do that, but audio clips are generally anywhere from, say, about 10 seconds to 20 seconds long. You can share your thoughts about anything related to Man United. I'm doing that. So let's move on. Let's read a tweet out. So Joe Maverick said, Ten Hag was a wrong choice. He has no tactical mind. His only tactic is lose possession at whatever cost. Seriously. No way Dalot starts ahead of Wan-Bissaka. Bruno, Wout Weghorst and Anthony should start on the bench. Fred is a must start. Maintain close pack structure on defence and at least 2 pass options for the lads in attack. The defence, the pack structure in defence, I kind of think I know what he means by that. And obviously, having options going forward and back, so support, pressure, support, balance. So it's like, you're on the ball, you're putting the other team under pressure, so you need someone ahead of you giving you support, and someone behind you giving you support. And the rest of the team to the left or right of you. But so pass options are everything in football. It's the basics of the game. What about Jack Hench? Jack Hench said this: after that result, I totally understand why Sabitzer was struggling for minutes at Bayern Munich. I hope we don't sign him. But then he goes on to say, decent as a 6-month loan signing though. Okay, so he's a squad padding player. He gives us choices, gives us another choice. And as I said about Sabitzer in yesterday's reaction video, I wanted to see more of him, and we got to see more of him yesterday. But I don't think yesterday was a true insight into his ability, because if you're playing alongside a player, so in midfield, him and McTominay playing together, and McTominay was going missing for large parts of the game. So it really kind of meant that Sabitzer couldn't really concentrate on his own game, and he was kind of having to support or make up for McTominay's deficiencies. I think, if you agree or you disagree, let me know in the comments. But I'd like to see how Sabitzer plays alongside Casemiro. And just to give him a chance. I mean, the lad wants to stay at the club. And unless we see a bit more of him, how are we going to know whether he's worth keeping? Now, as Jack Hench said, he doesn't think we should sign him. And I'm leaning that way, I've got to admit. I'm leaning more towards we shouldn't sign him at all. Next, on to the next comment. So Andrew T said, Ten Hag brought Sancho on and he looked like he couldn't give a fuck. The sooner we accept that Sancho can't do anything at Man United, the better. He'll just go the same way as that Memphis Depay did. I still got some deep down, as long as it's not a mentality issue with Sancho. So if he really wants to be a good player for United, he really wants to be at the club, then you can get more out of him. I believe you could make him a better player. I mean, you don't go from being a good player to being a crap player. There's got to be something else. There's something somewhere keeping that lad below par. So, like I mentioned before, I'm going to do a video about that and what Ten Hag could or couldn't do to try and to get more out of him. But no, I don't think he'll go. I hopefully don't think he'll go the way of Depay. I mean, we all had big hopes for Memphis, and yeah, that came to nothing. So, moving on. Yeah, this is from Gabby, and this is really not to do with the game, but just a kind of an observation. He said Trossard joined Arsenal in January and has already has as many league goal contributions as these Man United flops. So he's talking about Anthony and Sancho, and the 180 million combined price tag that United paid for those two players. So Trossard joined Arsenal in January, and he's already has as many league goal contributions as Sancho and Anthony combined. Which, I haven't looked that up to see if that's factually correct, but if you know, let me know in the comments below. So now we'll move on to our next audio clip. We've got one more audio clip to listen to. Let's find that. Here we are. And this is from Dan, who was at the game yesterday.
I don't think Ten Hag was to blame. I think, the fact that McTominay was playing doesn't put much faith in any United fan, really. And, I mean, look at his performance again. He just doesn't pass forward, or he holds on to the ball too long. I mean, there was one moment where he runs forward with the ball and could have played Anthony in down the right-hand side, but he just held on for it too long, and it eventually did pass it to him, but it was too late because Anthony had already been closed down. He didn't have as much space to run into, so it was a classic McTominay performance. I don't think Sabitzer really offered much either. Martial, we would have been better off with him starting, but he wasn't fully fit. ultimately, it just looked like they were obviously just the better team. They wanted to get revenge on us for the League Cup final. So I wasn't surprised, to be honest, going into the game after the break in the International. So hopefully we can get a result at Brentford, because if we lose, gotta be carnage.
Yeah, Dan's right, isn't he? I mean, thanks Dan, by the way. Thanks for sending in that comment, audio clip. Yeah, Dan's right. I mean, imagine Wednesday night we lose to Brentford, or we don't pick up 3 points. It will be a disaster. Top four will start to look a little distant again. Like, you know, we'll all be back, you know, just nervous as fuck, wondering about what's going to go on. Yeah, I've got to admit, before the game yesterday, I was quite confident. I thought, yeah, you know, we know how to play. We know, considering previous 5 games in the Prem against Newcastle, we'd won 3, drawn 2. They scored nothing. So I was confident that, you know, we knew how to play against them. You know, and I'd have been happy with a 1-0 win. But, as we know, it didn't come to pass. So moving on to some more comments. Toby B said, Manchester United's last 3 league games, this is touching on the points we made earlier, Manchester United's last 3 league games have been terrible, with 2 losses and a draw, so no win in 3. Eric Ten Hag needs to act fast to get the team out of this slump. It's time to bounce back and show Brentford what United is made of. But how can Ten Hag do that? How can Ten Hag do that? It seems like we're relying on one player. It's like, whenever, no, it's like Casemiro is the linchpin. It's like, if he's not playing, we're shit. And if he's playing, we're a lot better. You know, almost unbeatable. I'm not saying we play well, you know, especially not in first half of games anyway. But we can't just rely on one player. We can't. And hopefully, whoever takes over, if anyone does take over at the club, and hopefully even if they don't, there's some transfer budget for Ten Hag in the summer, and he can like plug some holes, you know, give the squad some strength in depth. Because this season, it could end up being, worst case scenario, that we have to win the Europa League to find a way into the Champions League next season. Imagine that. Imagine that. Disgrace. It'd be an absolute disgrace. So, moving on to the last comment I've got here. It said, we've won 1 away... This is from Katia, by the way. We've won 1 away game against the top 10, which was a last-minute goal against Fulham. So we've won one away game against any team that's in the current top 10, which was against Fulham, and it was a last-minute goal. We've scored 9 and conceded 27. That's crazy. 6 losses, 1 win and 1 draw. It's worrying, she says. Why are we struggling so badly against the top 10? What is Eric Ten Hag doing wrong? I just think it comes down to squad depth, quality of squad depth, and that's it. I mean, yeah, Ten Hag made some really strange decisions yesterday. I mean, taking Anthony off and replacing him with Sancho. I mean, what was Sancho going to do? I don't think he's never shown an ability this season, or maybe even most of last, an ability to affect a game. Whereas Anthony, yeah, his final product might not be great, but, you know, let's say he puts, 5 crosses in the box. One of them is going to cause problems. You know, and Varane and Martinez going off. You saw how Martinez was smashing that chair in the dugout. He was pissed off as we were. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He should have stayed on the pitch. Varane should have stayed on the pitch. Alright, if Varane was having some kind of injury or fitness problem, could have put someone else on for him. I don't know. I mean, share in the comments what you think, please. Do you agree with the commenters today? Do you think Ten Hag is at fault? And how do you think we can bounce back from this defeat and secure, hopefully secure a top 4 finish? Thanks for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And please help us spread the word by subscribing. Thanks for watching.